Welcome to the Startup Grind.
I don't really want to stand here and do like a pitch. I walk you through what I'm working on, but I'm developing a company called Smart Start AI. A little bit about my background. I'm a professor for like 20 years. I started in real estate. I lived the 2008 crash. That was my first entrepreneurship experience. So I crashed a S corporation right into the world market crash. That was fun. Unemployed for 18 months with a master's degree, not knowing how to feed my family. I went through a divorce then, of course, because of economic pressures. And I just threw myself back into school and got a doctorate. And what that led me to was about a 10-year stint in government. Started collecting taxes on those poor realtors who didn't pay their quarterlies. Then I went to work at CalHR and we developed some core competency models. And then I went to work for the chancellor's office, over 117 community colleges, and doing all their career technical education funding. So lots of dollars. I'm banking background. So I have a bit of a finance background, but also like an operational manager type leadership role. What I'm trying to do here is understand how AI is going to disrupt home ownership. If you look at the next slide, you'll see more or less the problem. So this is some information that came out of the National Association of Realtors. It's relatively recent, 2024. It shows the difference between home buyers by race and home ownership by race. This first column is your white Anglo folks. They own at rates of 72%, and they apply in this last year at rates of 80%. So they get it, they know how to do it, they're applying, they're doing their owning.
What's the two bar graphs? So it's the lighter green?
Sorry, the lighter green is the home buyers, that's the applications, people who are applying for mortgages. And the darker one is how many who already own homes.
Oh.
So if you go over one more, this is your Asian community. It's cutting it off, but this is the Asian community. Again, they're a little higher and the graph looks weird, but you can see it's only like 8% in applications, although they do have a good home ownership rate of 63%. It's still better than half, I guess. And the last one is actually a combined data point. That's Latinos and Blacks together. Their application rate's 7%, so it's going to be less than that between each group, right? And that last column didn't have all the data, so this is why it's kind of a little mixed here, but 44.1 is Black home ownership. So less than half of Black families own their home. Now, what does that mean? The next slide, it means that if we could get some of these minority homeowners to buy homes, you could create almost a $250 billion economic benefit, because when you buy a home, you're going to Home Depot, you're buying all kinds of things for your house, there's consumer things that happen, and equity builds over time. You're paying into the banking system, and all of those benefits also to, paying your property tax goes to the county services are better. So that's why you want to have home ownership, and there's a lot of threats to that as well.
Yeah, so, and then the only way you almost now you can have generational wealth too.
Generational wealth too.
Yeah.
So being able to transfer that to the next generation, that's really the big key. So if you go ahead to the next slide, I built this little bot, and I'm no coder. I've done this all through third-party vendors and stitched it together. But this AI co-pilot, and what I'm looking for today is try to see if I can find a tech co-founder who can do what I dream. And so this is the version of what it looks like. And there's a QR code if you want to play with it later. I'll go to the next slide. So what is it? AI-driven, personalized guidance for first-time home buyers, especially those from underserved communities. Mm-hmm. I like it to be able to assess where you're at and then adapt to your learning and then somehow trigger, hey, you're ready, and give you a good handoff to someone that's trusted that can provide you real estate services. Why do I care? Because I saw a lot of fraud and a lot of racist things that were happening. I worked at Davis, and I hate to say it, but I could stereotype. If it was a white family coming in, they were going to have A paper. They're going to be out of the office in 15 minutes with a great loan, great rate. And if they were Hispanic or Black, they probably had bad credit. They were field workers. They did not have an easy profile. And I was selling them very complex negative amortizing option ops. And they were not speaking English. They're speaking Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. Couldn't get the click. And then I brought my concerns. This isn't ethical. I was told we have quotas. That bank doesn't exist anymore. Washington Mutual sunk after I left. I resigned. The next slide is I'm trying to build this thing here. It's a two-sided marketplace. So right now I'm just trying to work. My user really is the first-time home buyer. I don't necessarily want to go to B2C because I want it to be free for the user if possible. That could also be free if I use like advertising or other types of revenue streams to cut the costs down. But really right now, my minimum viable product is the credit counselor, because to buy a piece of property, you have to be ready, willing, and able. right? So ready, I can help with the chatbot. Able, they need a down payment. And so working with a credit counselor as my ideal customer profile, they're going to help them get a down payment by going through this counseling class. So I foresee right now the first start and first step is to have this app that I've built be provided to credit counselors to provide to the first-time home buyers and start to prove out whether or not that actually improves their learning and supports them. And so it's kind of a complex licensing and user fee model. In the longest run, eventually if I could build the, have the data and all that AI built and in-house, then I could move on to the second half, which is I can train agents, real estate agents, or potentially bots in the future. They can't be licensed right now, but who knows what the future holds. And that could lead B2B leads or other certification fees that you can't get these leads unless you're certified. And so now you have multiple revenue streams that are coming off of getting people ready to buy homes. So the next slide. This is the simplified version of that because I can't do all that yet. So right now I'm reaching out to credit counselors. There's this policy group called 3x30. They're focused on African-American home ownership. And they actually have lists of credit counselors that they prefer to use and real estate agents. And we're kind of doing the customer validation step, right? Ooh. And I have the bot on the Apple Store for free right now. And it's kind of like user feedback experience. So that's how I'm at stage one. Next, no revenue yet. I mean, they said these things aren't real, but this is just, trying to get to what the market size is. If there's 1.3 million households that receive education for these down payments, and there's about 6,200 nonprofits. So the thing is, this can't be done everywhere. It can't be done in LA, probably can't be done in San Francisco. Those housing prices are too hard for first-time home buyers, right? Mm-hmm. So there's other markets nationally that could be done. I'm doing it in California because I'm licensed in California. I have done the research. I know where those markets are. So there's other market penetrations that could happen. But we estimate there's about 6,200 nonprofits nationally that are HUD certified. And if you gave them a $2,000 contract plus seat fees for the use of the license, you could potentially come to 1.3 million on the product. So that's the idea of what they might be valued in the marketplace. Next is where have I made traction? So I'm a Sac State graduate 2 times. I have a psychology degree and I have an educational doctorate from Sac State. I'm good friends with the director and got to join in just in September, the Startup Challenge. And it was huge because we got to traction right away, validated that there is some use case here. When I was in Australia, when I was traveling the world, I was in WeWork and I was playing with an early AI tool that allowed me to basically put text in and then it would make a talking teacher. And I made a whole bunch of videos about that because I'm a real estate professor. The idea came from my classroom. So I teach real estate agents to become licensed and about 2 other students show up, one who wants to buy their first home and one who inherited a home and doesn't know what to do with it. Those are both consumer-facing problems that I can't help you because I'm teaching you law, right? So I realized that I could potentially build this. And originally the plan was to just build a bunch of videos and to have it more like a classroom type experience. And what happened was it's expensive to make video, couldn't do it, so we tabled it. But when I was in Australia, all of a sudden Synthesia comes out. I could go back to all those transcripts I had, and in a month I had all the videos uploaded. They've been out there for a year for free. No one knows they're there. Now, I don't know how to get traction or followers, but there's free training on mortgages out there. There's 8 followers. So if you can build me a bot that will drive people here, that would be awesome. I'm licensed in California, and the corporate license is set up for this. I am not on Google Play yet. I am on the App Store, and if you scan that QR on your phone, it'll take you to our webpage, which is really just a landing page to take you to the Apple Store to get the tool. If you can download it, play with it, email me, let me know what it is or what it isn't. It's not perfect, but it's something to get the conversation started, kind of give you a sense of the ideation of it. But I foresee this being a larger platform that needs to be developed, and it's beyond me. This is what I could do with third-party vendors. And the next slide. Oh, yeah.
Take a picture of this for someone else in have.
Yes, absolutely. Please do share. I'm trying to get to 100 users as my next goal. 100 users just to get the feedback. So we're talking to kind of all the users, but this came out of the startup. We at first tried to just simplify it. The basic fundamental underlying thing is that this produces leads, right? It's an educational soft sell funnel. So we have the assumption that if you're educated, you're going to be a better consumer, less likely to default, and more likely to make good decisions, and less needing for laws to protect you because you're a better consumer, right? All of these others, they just range from like really crappy bazillion leads that you have to go through and hope you get something to really expensive leads that may or not be any quality. The reason that we stand out is if we're going to give a lead, we know that they've taken time to class to build their literacy and understand the process, that they have the resource in their pocket during the transaction to ask any questions that they may be embarrassed or unclear to ask their real estate agent. And the other side is the back end of that data can be led to the agent, so the agent has better customer service interactions with the client as well. And the next.
So this, who's your end customer? Is it going to be the counselor then?
My end user is the home buyer, right? But I'm trying to get to the credit counselors because they need down payments. If I just go to anyone and hand them this and they don't have a down payment, it's not going to get them to.
So the credit counselor has regular consumers that already have a down payment.
Yeah,
Basically, that's
they're
your
helping them.
qualifier.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so your model is to charge the credit counselors money?
Right. At the first, it's to just add the tool to their existing training. So they already have coursework that they buy. They spend about $75 to $100 to attend the class. It's a requirement to get a HUD loan.
Oh, because so that's how the cattle are being funneled over here. It's a HUD loan that has specialty rates for these people that wouldn't normally qualify.
And they're captured
Understood.
they're captured there. So it's a one-to-many model.
Yep.
And then all I'm saying is, hey, I have this tool. Do you want to buy this tool and give it to your learners?
Mhm.
Producing leads back to me. But eventually, that's just the leg in.
Well, so you're a real estate agent, you know that Zillow leads what, $120, $150, $200 per lead?
Yeah, that's on the next slide. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 200 bucks.
So wouldn't it make more sense you maybe get more traction if you charge the real estate agents for the leads that are already qualified for a HUD loan person and then pay a kickback to your credit officers instead to incentivize them to push the product for you?
Yes, that's possible. So again, this is me trying to pitch an MVP.
Oh, I love it.
So I have
yeah.
a broader 3-year plan and I have a model. Ideally, it's where do you start? I could go to the realtors and sell them to sell to their customers, and that's a B2C, right?
Yeah.
I want to have both sides of the market. I want to be able to bring the buyer in, know that they're qualified. I can fulfill myself. I'm a real estate agent, right? So I can get premiums from just doing the transaction.
Exactly.
That's where the larger dollars are, right? The agency work. But I can then white label that agency work to others versus selling them a bot. I can say, look, I have this whole platform you could white label, right?
Right. I just, those are totally valid and I'm not here to.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
They're just really heavy lift
right?
ways to start generating revenue versus just straight up selling leads. Right? Because you take all the leads that make you the most money possible in your zone in California, but taking it across the country, selling leads to other agents, super fucking easy.
Teach me the way.
How do you get the leads though?
Well, that's because you're paying a kickback to your officers that are doing the education, right? Which then you're able to go on there, which Instagram will work for you 100% because there's so many realtors on there right now. You pay $200 for a sponsored post on those realtor meme pages that are just full of realtors and say, look, hey, I built this product that educates a user. They already got a HUD loan pre-approved.
Yeah.
And I've
So here's my card and let's do it. I don't know how to do that. If you can show me how to do that,
Love it.
I would love to cut you in on it.
That's killer.
Everything's ready to go. I don't know how to do SEO. I'm a professor, right?
Yeah.
So I could definitely use the marketing. And I have dreams, like I could imagine putting bots out there that just drive this to this funnel, right? And that's kind of it. So, but I don't want to limit the product to like, oh, it's just a lead generator because it could potentially, if it's profitable, you could set aside like a benefit corporation model where you're actually supporting down payments through the corporation itself to kind of create a virtuous
100%.
wheel.
You can start
right?
building an entire
I think
portfolio
your
for sure.
I'm just observing, you may be suggesting lead generator just to get some quick cash going to start your
Yeah, it's-
longer term, to fund
Yeah.
your longer term vision.
Yeah.
That's
Especially,
like fast food type of product.
Yeah.
Just get some food in, get some cash.
and then it funds everything else, because then you hire the whole team to build everything out of your dreams, right? And
Yeah.
especially you taking the point of authority of being somebody that teaches real estate agents.
Yeah.
You think, hey, I got so many shitty leads from Zillow, it disgusted me. So I built this product that fixes that.
Yeah.
And then we run that as an Instagram ad, and you get every agent across the country on that. Like,
I would love, yeah. So where I'm at on that is I'm with you.
yeah.
I've built out all the socials and my branding's crap. So I have someone, a brand person, helping me fix all my branding so
Okay.
that I don't push out confusing messaging and there's cohesion across all the channels. But if I can get with you on knowing how to do the push, that would be
Yeah.
amazing. Next slide. We'll just keep moving through it. So this is me. I'm pretty much solo entrepreneur, but I have George. He helped me from the very beginning when we tried to do the video stuff. It was probably like 2018 when we did that. We were trying to do grant funding and work with community colleges because I was in the community college system. We were thinking, oh, you could do something at the community colleges and people could go to like get this training. AI just made it like cheap, fast, and easy. So it just got like, we shelved this for 2 years. And then I'm like, from Australia, bro, like we can go now. So he worked at Apple. He works in informatics now for the state. So he's more of a systems integrator, like administrator. So he's not a coder or technical, but he does help me a little bit there. And then Wendy Morgan was contract venture capital advisor I worked with, and she helped me take that mess and stream it out a little bit. So hopefully it's not so messy when I'm communicating it now. But next slide. Here's the social impact of the benefit type conversation. If you had 100,000 new homeowners in 3 years, could potentially create 20 billion in generational wealth, could produce foreclosure rates of 30%. My research into HUD is if they take the class without the bot, it's less than 1% default rates if they do the course. And that's why they are guaranteed and insured by the government. So could be that we go to HUD and say, HUD, we want you to sell this to everyone when you sell out your package, but I need to prove it out and get there. These are the UN sustainability goals that we believe our product could be aligned to. And then if you wanted to do ESG metrics to those, we could do that, right?
Cool.
So, next. And this was my ask, like 500,000. I had a computer software or the designing company kind of give me a pitch for a scope of work. I'm not close to needing that, so I'm just doing the dirty work, like trying to get this app out, trying to get users, proof it out. I mean, I'd love to see revenue and we could get that, it'd be amazing, but this would be kind of a rough estimate of what would be just to build out the thing, not the full platform, the long-term vision. I do have some drafts for like a 3-year roadmap, but that's still visionary, right? It's not real yet. So next. That's me. So that's it.
Great job, Jack. Yeah.
Can you go back to that complicated screen where you said that before this is the simplified version?
Yeah, go back.
Yeah, because I wanted
Which
to
one?
adjust it. This one. Just, can you explain to me your idea of who's going to fund what here?
Yeah, absolutely. So real estate agents already buy leads, right?
So the real estate agent is not in the picture here, is it?
It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
that the green circle all the way over there.
You could put one more bubble, like they're not certified, uncertified agents, just the open market of agents. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they buy leads.
Yeah, they buy leads already. It's the because a lot of people don't do that outreach. They don't go knock doors. They don't go stay at events. Like, so there's a lot of hungry real estate agents that would be paying for high quality leads.
And what does the lead
I-
do for them?
so- Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So they need to find people that are qualified to purchase a home and
Okay.
want to buy a home, right? He's got people right at the end of a pipeline where they've already been qualified and guaranteed a loan. So it eliminates a lot of the headache and wasted time that real estate agents deal with people that can't qualify for a loan or already have 90 million questions. These people just went through a pipeline that taught them everything. So they are like the most clean, high quality lead. Me being a marketer and a marketing agent, I'm drooling over that lead,
Right.
like just on that itself. That's
Right.
like such a quality pipeline of revenue.
But this is where, so tell me, so taking that course is enough to qualify them for a loan?
No, it prepares the buyer. So if you walk into a
So
a transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it prepares the buyer so it's a better lead. So imagine someone walks into
So
a
I
transaction, they know nothing about what they're doing, and then you got to explain everything. And they're a first-time home buyer. Waste my time, right? But they come in, they're ready, they don't ask me very many questions because they already know what they're doing. Now I close fast and I have a better.
Okay, but I just said in terms of the lead, that you do get people who understand what they're doing, but they're not guaranteed a loan.
Well, so the beauty of the credit counselor up there at the front, that top circle, the people that are going through that credit counselor already have a down payment. They're already going through that HUD program. So those people are guaranteed the loan. So that's the cleaner, that's why it's a cleaner versus,
And then
yeah,
in the middle.
exactly.
So you get your leads from the credit counselor.
When they come,
Exactly.
so
But
first-time home buyers here, they come to me and then I sell them out to them to get to them.
And you were suggesting somehow to compensate the credit counselors
Yeah, I would give them a kickback, just
for
incentive.
just sharing the app with them and telling them, you tell me who I can.
Well, because then you tell that credit counselor that you're educating that first-time home buyer, hey, this app will help connect you to a trusted real estate agent. Because that's the value to the first-time home buyer, is he's going to go out and validate real estate agents and find you the quality one that you can trust, right? Because these guys, all these people that are going through this credit counselor, this is their first time doing it, right? This is first-time home buyers. It's a scary thing to do, right? So they trust their credit counselor now. They've already built that relationship. He's paying for that positive relationship, basically, because basically he's renting that positive relationship from that credit counselor, getting that immediate trust for the pitch to, hey, use this app, right? It'll help refer you to a trusty agent.
It's all hinged though on the app being adopted and useful to.
Yeah.
And you haven't really spoken about that much.
We don't know.
It's all hinged on
Big
that
assumption.
first step. Everything we've talked about.
Well, assuming it's going to be.
We have to assume first-time home buyers will use a bot, right? I don't know.
Yeah, are you thinking like, like a chat GPT thing where you can sit back and forth, or what is it?
Yeah, so the app, I saw it against Brian's and Kay, but yeah. If you want to go back, it can show you that it's limited functionality at this point.
Sure.
The app, so here's the chat function, and you can just literally ask it any question.
Okay.
So what I've trained the bot on is the HUD credit counseling curriculum and my Smart Start curriculum, and I've also trained it on, I just have a ton. I've been a teacher forever, so I have a ton of stuff that I've trained it on. So it is just a chat GPT, but it's RAG, even though it's not really a RAG, it's just like a thing.
It's been through prompt engineering.
Yeah, it's shaped.
You've shaped it to be.
Fine tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, tune is probably the best word. Yeah, so it's tuned. So if you ask it, there's some bubbles here. It's very limited. It's a chatbase.co is the vendor,
Yeah.
right? So if they go down, I go down, right? But that's why I would like to eventually be able to build it myself, but it works. And it's a good minimum value.
You're killing it, dude. This progress, this traction.
Yeah,
So let's not think about your limitations of where the product is today. At your full tilt, what do you see it actually doing for that person coming through that pipeline?
So I work in educational technologies. That's my consulting firm. So what I do is I work with higher education organizations. An example, I work with CSU San Bernardino. They have something called the X-Reel Lab down there, and it's all about immersive learning and that. And so I bring vendors who build software for the headsets that allow us to teach in immersive spaces, and they're doing research on can you make the holographic bot that's in the metaverse have emotions so that students can see facial expressions and have a better learning experience? And they're going to NSF grants and so I'm in there consulting on the grant work inside of that project management. And so this is me trying to play in that same space. Okay. If you ask me, anything I could just magic wand it, could you imagine going to the metaverse and talking to a real estate agent who's just a bot that's back-ended on this type of technology and make your transaction and sell completely in your headset and never leave your home? Okay. Because I look at my 13-year-old, you know how he interacts with his friends? He's on the phone for voice and headset for interaction. They're playing in Roblox. Now, will they work and play? They're playing in there. Will they work and do transactions and things like that in the future? I don't know. And that's futuristic thinking, but this bot, I don't think is the answer to anything. It's just kind of a way of getting started. I think that there has to be some tests about what type of education, how much education is it? Is it a 3-unit course that they need, or is it a 1-hour course, or is it just the chat bot? I don't know. I haven't done those tests to find out what
I'm still trying to understand the value. So you go to the credit counselor,
Mhm.
and is he going to promote this app? And the app is basically, hey, if you have any questions, you could use this app and about HUD, yada yada, and this app will answer it.
Mhm.
Is that
That's
kind of the
start.
gist of it?
Yeah.
How many credit counselors have you talked to?
I've worked with Culture, and this Culture is a nonprofit here in Sacramento, and they just graduated 25 folks, and her name is Ashley. She's actually a realtor, and she has her own curriculum. So I got an MOU started with them, and what I would do is then train the bot on her curriculum, potentially white label the bot for her, and every time she does her training through Culture, they're using the bot. That's just selling the resource of the chatbot, right?
So one.
One I've talked to that potentially a contract with. Other than that, we're interviewing the ones that are 3x30. There's an organization called 3x30, and it's focused on Black homeownership. There's about 16 of those that we've been calling lately, and we got a lot more. We're just in beginning. Like I've got a lot more phone calls and tests to do. So
Yeah.
each state has drop downs for more of those credit counselors. I've talked to some other traction I have is I have a connection and relationship with the previous commissioner of the DRE who recently retired, and talked to him about, this. I think it could be done where it's not trying to be consumer focused as well. It could also be done as a compliance piece, right? And where one of the issues that like the Department of Real Estate has is that. So I don't want to get like lost. This is the thing that could potentially produce revenue and get me started. And this is where I've been taught to like go like this in my pitch and do the 1 million cups pitch, which is focused on a very small, narrow first step. But I think, there's an opportunity to use AI to disrupt the process, even at like the bank itself. Like there's all this data that I have about my transactional, like what I do in my banking account. I used to work at Washington Mutual. I know all their back end and Wells Fargo and all those companies. They could have this type of bot integrated into their website that's not just learned my stuff, like real estate stuff, but could actually look at my behavior and my spending and my credit profile and all that, and be a coach and be like, hey, you probably shouldn't buy a Starbucks today.
Like that, I don't know.
I don't know.
I know, but so is this, it's just a chatbot now. You don't say, okay, but these are probably things you want to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that? You have like a list for a new home buyer. Okay, before we start chatting, these are things you probably want to think about and ask me. Okay.
So there's little bubbles on it. Interface, I'm limited to the features of the vendor. Yeah. Is another pain point, right? So there I have these little things like, would you like an overview? If you click that, it'll give you the prompt out of that first step.
So that's probably what they want to see first thing.
Yeah.
So they'll know what to ask questions about, right?
Right.
So what have the feedback? Have anybody used it? And what feedback have you gotten?
I had the first person download the app this week, and he provided a UX feedback. I have a Google form. So I have got one user and one feedback on the app.
First user, dog.
And
Feedback too.
this is feedback too.
No, that I couldn't find. Would you like an overview of buying?
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the first thing they want to see. And I know you're limited, but that's important. You give feedback as a user. I wouldn't know where to start. Maybe if I know, let's do today, right?
Yeah.
Because it's been too long since I did it. So I would like, the first thing is just a roadmap,
Yeah.
And maybe not everyone. Maybe
So
I have a fly-through video too of it, but yeah.
during the HUD program and with the credit counselor, is there like some kind of test that the person has to do or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's an 8-week course. They usually give up their weekends for 8 weeks.
Wow.
And then they get a certification. And so there's curriculum. It's HUD.
And is it just to check the box, they sat through the class, they get it? Or is it they have to pass with a 70% on a test? You know what I mean?
No exam. It's kind of like they do probably quizzes for each chapter, but you just get a certificate. The problem, okay, so this is why they do it.
Yeah.
They take it so that they get the certificate. So the certificate goes in the loan file so that if the bank gets a default, they can claim to HUD or Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae that this is an insured, they took the class and they still defaulted, we want the recovery, right? So it's more of a check the box compliancy thing that they take the class for. It doesn't necessarily, I see this as beyond that. I see this as being able to like, once I have it, I've got a bot in my pocket that I can ask about things like foreclosure or when that supplemental tax document comes 2 weeks later after I close and I don't know why I'm getting a supplemental adjustment, I can ask that question again.
Can you take the course like, can the app be like taking the course through the app? Is that legal?
Theoretically, I can go to HUD and become a counselor myself or get my organization to be a counselor and I could train the bot to be a bot-based counselor.
Right, but
I think
Potential.
I think there's an even lighter value prop here for the user, right? They just went through this 8-week course and gave up 8 weekends, but it might be 6 months to a year until they're actually in a home. If they forget any of the stuff they were taught, they could use this bot just to ask the questions of what they forgot.
what I was actually thinking was just more like you have so is that like 16 hours times 8? So 8 weeks times, is this 8-hour course or?
Well, I think it would be a half day. I think they go from like 8 to noon on a Saturday and they do that for 7 or 8
So
weeks.
it's like 64 hours
Mhm.
of content. So what if you created a curriculum and then the curriculum, they have to watch the video like on an app or a website?
Yeah, it's on. So yes.
Would that qualify and get them the certificate?
Well, I would have to be certified as a HUD counselor, which I've looked into and done the research on. It's not impossible to do that. Question being though, could this replace the seat time? I don't know. I haven't dug deep enough to know what the standards are for HUD. There may be a seat requirement,
What does a seat time mean?
meaning like I'm in person and you're in person versus will they let this be completely automated?
Well,
You know,
Because how would they want the time.
it's like most online course platforms that you can just track somebody's actual watch time.
Yeah,
but that, I just don't know. I guess I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe there are online
Just
versions.
digging in
because I'm just throwing out here, like, what if you just,
You're in it.
you just provide this model where they could take the course, they could take it for an app, there's
Yeah.
videos that you've created, you watch it, maybe there's a quiz or something.
Yeah.
You have the chat bot in there to ask, if they can ask questions. That's a problem with a lot of these online courses, you can't ask any questions.
Right.
So you have that there. And then you also, the tertiary method is they could email you or whatever, and you can ask any questions they have.
Yeah.
They complete the program, they get the certificate, and all of a sudden you get a lead.
Yeah, it already does that. So if you start interacting with this, even right now, there's functionality where it'll pop up and ask for the lead. And on the back end, I can capture.
Right, but my
leads.
point is maybe the thing is not to go through the credit union, but you become
Yeah.
the issuer of the certificate, you become the trainer and the issuer of the certificate.
Yeah. I mean, so the model, if you look at the model at Culture, for instance, they don't have the bot, right? So it's easy just to sell a bot to someone, get a licensing fee, and I don't do anything and go golfing, right? But if I have to take on being the counselor and the realtor and have the bot, now I'm back as an employee again. And what I'm trying to do is build a product that will give me my time back. And so I'm not necessarily trying to become that. I mean, I guess my company could have a vertical that does counseling and a vertical that does real estate and just keep those as divisions and then build that up like that. But yes, the answer is yes, but I can't do everything all on the same day.
There's a lot of opportunity here, man.
Yeah.
Good job. You got a good idea.
Yeah, so
Are you doing this so you could get more sales personally for yourself?
I'm
or are
not
you
actually
building a
practicing.
product?
I'm building the product. I'm not practicing in real estate right now. I have a license and I'm set up so that an agency in the future could be established to fulfill it. But right now, I'm really trying to build the bot to get to the leads to then have fulfillment partners. And then if I want to eventually increase my margin, then I can set up an agency and fulfill them myself. And then I can potentially push all those white labels back out and have a full market myself.
Eating the chain.
There's one part where you said like willing and able. There's one more.
Ready, willing, and able.
And I kept looking for like, what does that mean? It might be nice for you to like describe. What does it mean for someone to be ready, willing, and able? And how are you going to help someone get to that point?
So I would say ready in my mind is that they took the class, have the certificate, so HUD says they're ready.
Sure.
Right, and then able is the down payment or financial means. What that means, their credit score, their income, their down payment, and that the market supports purchase affordability, right? So that's ability. And then willingness is, I don't really know what willingness, I guess willingness is the willingness to take the risk and sign the paper and.
If they went through a class, they're willing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is dope. You're making a much higher quality lead product.
Yeah.
Right.
A really tiny question. You said that there was we're missing income from these people that are purchasing homes right now. The number you gave was 256 billion. And you listed like a whole bunch of things, like they're not putting in like into their money into like renovating their home.
Yeah.
Better side, but you didn't mention any property taxes. Is property taxes included in that number?
So property taxes are paid by homeowners, not by renters. So yeah, they have to pay that. But the fact that, I mean, whether it's private or,
That's definitely part of the impact. You would assess it off.
Yeah.
150 billion.
the property tax is going to be paid either way, whether it's private or publicly owned, you know, so if a company owns, like we're thinking about BlackRock right now, right? They still pay the property taxes. So maybe actually private ownership is better because they maybe don't default like private. I mean, there's an argument there, but the number that I'm showing is the economic impact. There's data that shows renters' net worth is something like $2,500. And if you're a homeowner, the family's net worth is, you know, close to six figures. So, and better, obviously, over generations. So that's really the key, is that if you can get more people owning, there'll be more equity in people's hands. And then you're trying to, like, underneath all of this is a little bit of a social justice rebellion, right? I'm trying to help families that have been locked out. They've been redlined. They've been blocked by credit. They've been predatory on like short-term loan where you pay 1,000%. Like, I'm trying to give back by saying, okay, and the assumption is like, can you protect yourself by training yourself to be better at protecting yourself, rather than asking HUD to protect you by having what, 8 classes? That's not enough to protect yourself. You need to be a better financially savvier buyer, and theory this might help.
Are you, when you just said give back, is this you have to make money in this, right?
Yeah.
Or is it also serve a community that you feel personally needs to be served? It's
Yeah.
kind of both then, right?
Both.
Okay.
It's from,
I was thinking
yeah.
you could do like, I used to work, I've worked in nonprofits and things. You can do grants and nonprofit, you know, there's a lot of organizations, I'm sure you know, that would be probably interested in a product like this that could serve underserved communities and nonprofit.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, there's foundations, like even 30 by 30 is a foundation that has that mission, so they could potentially offer it, you know.
Because you're not, doesn't mean you make money, they make money.
Right. They make money with their businesses, just different tax purposes. But again, it doesn't, that is the underlying motivation for me personally. That's my why, because I lived the losses and I saw the injustices and I had to walk away from it. And this is a way of, in some ways, I feel could correct it, but still there's a capitalist opportunity. You want the economy to grow. You want home ownership. It needs to be profitable, because I see profit in capital just as fuel, rocket fuel. I mean, the reason Elon gets to do what he does is he's able to get enough rocket fuel to do those things. And that's really the capitalist stream. It's not, I don't dream about having a $1 billion exit because I want to be $1 billion. I'd be like, if you give me $1 billion, how many more fun ideas and things we could create and do? And I think that's the motivation for me. It could be highly profitable. It seems like when I share it, people get excited by it. I need help making it real, because it's in here and it's pretty pictures here and there's some demonstration of it, but how do we get to revenue? How do we grow it? I've got to learn now how to pitch to VC. I don't know how to do that. Like, there's a lot of learning to be done.
The question that was posed here, you actually answered it in the presentation. And when you did, I had the thought. You were a bit sarcastic when you talked about your experience that's very painful for you. And I think it's okay to say, this was painful. And this is how I think to address it.
Oh, yeah.
It won't happen again. But I think you don't say that clearly enough.
Yeah.
You kind of feel
Well, there's some shame in it, right?
I
Yeah.
know, but that's okay. It's okay to say it was really painful and this is how I want to address it so it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
I think that's okay.
If I can save someone from losing 6 houses and their family with this tool, it's more than $1 billion, honestly.
Okay, well, I don't really know about your personal shame, but I guess, am I understanding this correctly? What you're trying to do is sell referrals to real estate agents, and you're using the credit counselors to get the referrals.
That's it. That's this
Okay.
current minimum viable product.
Okay, so how much are you planning to sell the leads for? I guess I'm just shocked you only talked to one of the credit counselors, because if that product is valuable to them and you feel like it is, I think you should have been out talking to them instead of us.
There's one guy doing this, and I'm doing it while I'm learning.
You know,
Dude, you're killing it.
So,
You're killing it. Don't
That's
take
as far
any
as I can go. Like you saw the date there where I did the startup. That's the first time I actually did anything. And since then I've been on like since September, whatever, 17th. What day is it now? November 3rd, 4th, 5th. So
to Brian's point, at least what you're presenting here, your
Yeah.
customer is not the end customer. Your customer is the credit counselor.
Mhm.
So that's who you have to sell. So, and that's the thing that I'm thinking is, have you presented to the credit counselor? Have they tried it? Have they tried it with their customers?
So no, not yet. I have identified credit counselors. I've reached out to them by email. I've been calling. I haven't yet talked to enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
Rich, it has to show that the customers are going to be, it's going to be useful to the
Right.
user too. So it's not just
So,
the credit, he actually.
I'm
has
trying to
to-
get the middle of bot out.
Yes,
Now the
please.
bot's out. Now I can also do B2C testing
Yeah.
while I'm trying to get to these B2B testing.
well, at least with your current business model, the credit, I mean, so yeah, there's two to market, but if you reach the credit counselor, they already are working with the customers and they can see, hey, let's try this, or they could try it themselves, and if they like it, then they can present it out.
You can also ask them for future.
So
future ideas.
another test that I'm doing is I teach real estate and I'm teaching finance right now online down at Coastline Community College. I've got 20 students. They have this, but I present it to them as, hey, this is your study bot, use it, right? And so I'm getting user data and use data from them trying to learn finance, right?
Yeah.
Real estate finance. So it's still the same application because they're going to be future mortgage people, right? And this thing can help them.
That's cool, man. That's good.
But I have other versions of the bot, like there could be a bot like this for the real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
And
But you should like focus on one thing.
Just for now.
Yeah,
Just for now.
There's already so much to eat here, dog.
right. If you could focus.
so yeah, credit counselors is where it's at. I have two people that I've tasked from the startup. We did the startup. So Gigi, who's part of that, helped. She is calling the credit counselors and trying to set up appointments. And then I have another person from that event who's calling real estate agents and trying to set up appointments. So that's kind of where I'm at, trying to get the QR code at. I'm just completely trying to verify whether or not this has use and whether or not
Yeah.
there's
I just think that it's the customer validation is important, and I think, and I had when my first startup, I didn't do that well enough, and I found that my target customer, once they weren't interested in what I had, and then the customers that maybe were interested thought our product was too primitive. So I think it's really important to be able to get in front of them and get their feedback.
Yeah, it's where the stickiness needs to be to get it going, right? How did you created this on your own, and how, that's impressive. How did you do that? Did you go on YouTube and look at videos, or how did you do that? Like, how did
stayed
you?
up 24 hours a day. Chat, remember Napster? There's an old saying like all he did was nap and work, nap and work. I did that for a year. I just went into a bunker and tried to learn so that I could build these things. But Chatbase is relatively easy to use.
It's called Chatbase?
Chatbase.co.
Okay.
That's who's powering it. It's $20 a month for the bot. It's not very expensive.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna ask if it's like a free to so you have to pay like a license for it.
Yeah, you have to get, well, I'm now paying $100 because my user base is going to go up with all this testing. So
Okay.
if you're just demoing it, it's like $20 a month while you're trying to build it. And then once you start getting users, you go up on there.
And that's built on top of ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT, or you can pick the different AI bot.
The Poe is Cora's same product where you can go put in your prompt and it will allow you to ask questions on the prompt and things like that. Maybe it's similar. But I have one question about HUD, and it's actually, this product is very paired with HUD. It seems it is a HUD. It relies on HUD. Otherwise,
Yeah, HUD is it's certifier.
it's totally so. Like if HUD all of a sudden decides to be much more generous with their loans, your product becomes much more valuable, right? It's sort of tied in with the HUD, and like, is there risk that Trump and Elon are going to shut down HUD and there's going to be no more HUD and then it's gone?
I don't know. I don't think they'll shut down HUD. That would be difficult, but yeah, I think I do have that thought. I think if the outcome had been different and there was messaging about investing in homeowners and investing in small businesses under Kamala's plan, that it may have been more accelerating.
Is HUD pretty constant with their benefits? They don't like
They're just a
fluctuate?
regulatory.
Yeah.
They're just regulatory. The benefits come from the bank and the market and the supply and demand. So all that HUD does is says, we want cookies baked like this. And then the banks have to bake the cookies to get the insurance.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
it's a very stable product.
It's not like taxpayer money that's funding that.
Well, HUD is paid by taxpayer money federally, but
Defaults are paid for by taxpayers.
yeah.
I see, it's guaranteed. HUD is a guarantee.
Yeah, it's like FDIC,
Insurance.
it's like insurance for your bank. Yeah.
So it's reinsurance on the bank, so that if you default, the bank gets the better portion of the default rate back to capitalize them. So the banks don't lose, right? They played the game to figure out how they went each way, but
Which makes that lead more valuable to the real estate agent, because less chance of them not being able to get a loan.
Well, sometimes the banks lose. In 2008 in Washington Mutual,
yeah, the whole world lost.
2022,
The
yeah.
whole world lost. Yeah. So I think, I mean, I look at it like, if could this be done in Spanish then, right? And that could have fixed my barrier that I had in,
Hey, Claude, then Spanish, Claude can translate it all for you. You don't have to do a single thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
multilingual is, it's pretty simple now.
That's really cool, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got.
I am happy to take on any help.
Yeah, you got an elephant to eat. It's just, remember, it's one bite at a time, and
Yeah.
your next bite is making sure that actual buyers, these people going through the program, actually like it
Yeah.
and will use it and trust it.
Yeah, and I run a regular day job, right? So this
Yeah.
is a product, and I'm trying to set up the C corporation so that we could go in the long run to venture, but I still have an LLC that I'm consulting and trying to
Yeah.
run my business while I'm helping fund this.
C Corp is a hell of a lot of work right now. You get one-time conversion. You can take an LLC and turn it to a C Corp at the time of funding. So that way you don't have to manage minutes or
I didn't
anything
know
else
that.
right now. Yeah, you can do a one-time conversion for an LLC to a C Corp. So it's way cheaper and way easier to run as an LLC for a startup. And then when you actually have people like, hey, I want to put money into you, you
That's
file
smart.
the conversion.
That's actually smart.
You're fine.
Well, I'm down the road enough. I don't know if I can do that because I have the C corporation filed with the Department of Real Estate. So I
Okay.
have a corporate
Yeah.
license for the holding company that
Then,
holds this
yeah, you're
product.
just gonna have to keep meeting minutes and do the all
Yeah.
the fun stuff. I've just bled from 1,000 cuts so many times that I found the cheapest route.
Yep.
That's actually good to know.
Yeah.
So
So,
next one.
yeah, I would say like this is like Wix for websites, right? That's about my technical skill set there. It's not anything special.
But it lets you put in your own memory into it, right?
Yeah.
You're able to upload your own documents. It's basically like the assistants in ChatGPT. Yeah.
So that's what I'm up to. Happy to, like, my business card, happy to talk to you. I'm on the phone trying to use as much of my time to get these phone calls out to the ideal customer profile, which is the credit counselors, and trying to also, like, I'm getting a lot of attraction. So it's like trying to delegate and work with people who do want to help, but then trying to understand how does all that work in the long run, because people have expectations and like, so that's another thing. I've never done what's called a venture-backed approach. Like, I've started a business, but it was all bootstrap, doing sales, knocking on doors, getting real estate friends and family. So the kinds of business I usually do are not tech, VC fundable, scalable.
So the one thing I did see is you on there, and I just played with it, you actually have to, there's a thing there that you ask your prompt, you send out a prompt, you want to put your personal information here. But I'm actually thinking if you actually created a login or a registration page, then they can use it. That's, then you get guaranteed they get that information.
Yeah, you're gonna capture it anyways, because if they're using your AI, you deserve their email, their phone number, and their name.
So that's possible. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but there's the website that's propped up is a WordPress.
Mhm.
So it's possible to do that. I'm not sure, like put a login behind it or whatever, but really all it is a splash page with a link to the thing, but it can be more sophisticated.
Yeah, but because he's doing this through chat-based, which actually helps him push it to the App Store, he's not able to add the customized login flow for his app. You know what I mean?
No, you could do something like, if you do an app, like, you could have some features, and then if they register, you could unlock more features.
Right, but so he literally, this is just white labeled from Chatbase. So
No, this is just one feature, right? So you click here, there's other features of the app. It's more than a chatbot right now.
Does it have a memory where it's like, you've made it through this checklist of your itinerary and you've done these 6 things and this is remaining?
No, I need that. Yeah, I want to create like a flight path
Right.
that would more guide. But right now it's just an open chat and like this even needs to be experimented with. Is this the right wording for the first thing, or is this the right bubble? Like there's a lot of
Can
testing.
you surface videos in that chat box?
No, it's a pure text interface. But
you're getting fancy.
Yeah, I guess you could put a link in there or something. But yeah.
maybe, yeah. Well, whatever it returns from Chatbase. Like
Yeah, I got you.
on the back end of Chatbase, there's like things I can train it or we said tune it, right? And so maybe, but I don't know how to make things pop up in it. Yeah, no,
Tune's the wrong word.
that's the wrong word.
Yeah, it's almost like prompt engineer, right? It's sort of
So you meant to, when I meant tune, I meant that the data is incorporating his specialized data. That's not prompt engineering.
It's RAG. It's by adding documents, it's RAG 100%. It's because fine tuning, you have to go through epochs of training. Like it's, that's geeky stuff, but yeah.